Our predictions for the 2026 Bean Chilling Grand Prix. Biggest loser. So for my biggest loser, I'm gonna double down and I'm gonna go Arvid Lindblad again.
Okay.
I feel like if he's like out of the points, maybe, perhaps,
Perhaps.
perhaps. But I don't know. I feel like he had a really good race. I don't know how good the Racing Bulls will be this week at China. And it's a sprint weekend, so he's only gonna have one session to be able to actually like figure out the car at that track and
Yeah.
whatnot. I think a lot of the older drivers here are gonna probably benefit with the short weekend. So
Mm-hmm. Actually, a really good take. I didn't even think about it like that. Sprint, there's only gonna be one practice session.
You stole my biggest loser, bro. Well, for my biggest loser for this race, I was gonna go Arvid Lindblad, but I'm gonna choose Pierre Gasly now because he did finish in the points. So I think the expectations are high for him. Although I honestly think Pierre Gasly and Cole Pinto are like fairly matched by the end of the season, points wise. Just 'cause I feel like they're like one's better at one track, the other one's better at another.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't think we've seen Cole Pinto race in China yet, have we?
he was not
I
in
don't
China last
remember.
year.
Yeah, I don't think he
I think it was
was.
doing
He
last year,
was
right?
it
It
was
was
it was
doing.
doing.
You were
Doing
right.
didn't get replaced until after
Shortly after
Japan.
Suzuka because of the what was it? The DRS left open in the turn one incident.
Yeah.
He said, "I did it on the
No,
sim."
I think Pierre Gasly's a good call. I'm looking at last year, and it looks like he finished. He disqualified, but I think he finished.
DSQ'd.
Yeah, I think. Hold on. What position was
I think like
Gasly?
realistically for that to come in, it would just be has to be beaten by his teammate out of the points.
Yeah, he finished 11th last year. So,
There you go.
um,
Who's gonna
but
be
he
P22?
also looked pretty good last week. So
Yeah, we'll
I
see.
guess we'll just have to see.
Franco Cole Pinto world champion incoming.
For all right, for my biggest loser, I am going with Bortoleto. And I was in between two people still because this is a hard category for this weekend. I'm going to say Bortoleto. I still think the Audis will be strong. I just think, Hulkenberg didn't even start the race last weekend. I think Hulkenberg's just going to outshine his teammate this year. Kind of like what you said. And not necessarily this year, this race weekend, kind of like what you said with the more experienced drivers just going to be better around this track. So I do think Hulkenberg's just going to beat his teammate by a couple of positions. And yeah. Good surprise. For my good surprise, I'm still in between three drivers. It's really close. I'm gonna do Oscar Piastri. Obviously, he didn't even start the race because he put it in the wall on the way to the grid last weekend. So basically, as long as he doesn't DNF, I feel like that's a good surprise at this point. But no, I think he'll easily get points. I think he'll outclass Norris this race and just prove himself that he's not, falling away just because of that one incident at the beginning.
Yeah, he just needs a good start. He won last year,
Yeah.
by like 10 seconds, so he's definitely good at this track.
I go next, right?
No, I go next. And then you're last, but then you go first for crazy.
Okay.
So for my good surprise, I have 3 good ones in my list. You didn't take one of
I have
my.
three really good ones in mind.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Max Verstappen.
Hmm.
I think he's gonna be fighting for the win this weekend. To be
Really?
honest, I just have a feeling. I think like he's gonna have a. Usually when he does bad at a race, he has a good bounce back race majority of the time. So I think he's gonna come out strong.
My goat.
Shut up. No, I think that's a good take. I'm just worried about like with the the difference in how far away he finished time wise from the Mercedes. That's the only thing I was worried about with him. I had him in my list as well though.
Well, for my good surprise, it's not really necessarily like team specific of who's going to do good. I have both Aston Martins finishing the race for my good surprise.
You know what?
Um,
That's good. That's a good loophole. I didn't even
That
think
is
about that
fair.
one. I didn't even think about that one.
purely off of
I should have taken that.
purely off of last race, I think it's a pretty valid good surprise if they do.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not hopeful that they will, but also at the same time, hopefully the engineers are able to figure out something to at least like get both of them to cross the finish line.
Yeah.
So, and that'll
It would
secure
be
me
a
double
good
points because it's a team.
Yeah, I think it would be a good surprise for them to finish. I think it's gonna like China's a lot. I think it's gonna be a lot harder on the engines anyway. It's
A lot of
um
straights. A lot of
yeah, so I feel
VMAX.
like if they do finish, that'd be like a big bonus for them as a team. Anyway, more data for them to figure it out.
Yeah.
And then I'll just jump straight into the crazy prediction. I was going to choose Lindblad as my biggest loser because for my crazy prediction, I have Lindblad causing a collision resulting in a DNF for him. So, and the reason I think that is like he did really good in Australia, and I'm not trying to like hate on him or whatever because he's a
Mhm.
rookie, but also at the same time, like a lot of the times rookies will like do good or do better than they thought they would, and then they have like a crazy chip on their shoulder whenever they go into the next race. And I have a feeling he's gonna find himself in a spot where like I really do see him trying to force a move that's probably not there just because he has that crazy level of confidence, and I think it's gonna take him out or somebody else out or both of them.
Mm.
Yeah, he was
Okay.
making some pretty pretty good moves at the beginning of the race at Australia. So I think if he tries that at China, it's a lot harder to make those crazy moves around those first couple corners with how the traction is around those. So
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Uh, Damn, I'm still in between these two as well. For my crazy prediction, I'm going with there's going to be no DNFs from any engine related failures. So, crashes and stuff could happen, puncture or something like that, collisions, whatever, but nothing engine related. Because, I mean, last weekend, I think there were technically three that happened due to engines. You could count the Aston Martins as well, kind of, but not really. So,
I think it
with
was the
these
engine
new,
with the
yeah,
Aston. So
with these new regulations, it would be pretty crazy if that doesn't happen.
yeah, I agree. I saw the video of Alonso's onboard after he came out of the pits
Yeah.
when he went in and it came out like 15 laps down, and as soon as he goes around
Yeah,
T1,
like,
his engine just just
yeah,
cuts out.
yeah.
That would
I
be kind of
feel so
crazy.
bad, bro.
I know. I remember I was saying I hadn't seen a team do that since they did
They did it
Red
with
Bull did it with
Perez.
Perez,
Yeah, but the only
and it
reason
was
they
like
did that was
a
because
couple years ago.
they want to get pictures with him and Verstappen on the track, right? Because they won the championship.
Yeah, something weird, but
Yeah.
is it my turn?
Horse next.
Yes, kind.
Oh, okay. I was
I'm
forgot
out.
where we were. So for my crazy prediction, I have so many good ones this week. I don't know which one to go with.
I did
I'm gonna
not.
go. All right, I'm gonna do risky. I'm gonna go three different teams on the podium.
Ooh.
So I'm thinking. Well, I mean, y'all, it's self-explanatory, you know.
Yeah,
There's gonna be three different drivers from three different teams on the podium. So that's my crazy, 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 crazy.
Dark
I like it.
blue, red, light blue. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, pretty
Fair,
much.
fair.
So for the first sprint pole of the year, I have George Russell. I think it's pretty obvious who I'm pretty sure both of y'all maybe had him
Maybe.
or
Yeah.
Kimmy probably.
Yeah.
Uh, I think he gets pole very easily in sprint, and also y'all can probably guess what my number one is for the race, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, Stature is gonna steal that. So
What? No.
Am I next?
Yes.
Yeah.
So for my sprint poll, you took George Russell, so I'm gonna go with the second fastest
Fuck.
overall, Kimi Antonelli. I
I
think
have
is gonna take
nothing.
sprint pole. Yeah,
I have nothing.
I was gonna go Leclerc, but I think the Ferraris will be a lot stronger in the sprint race because their engineers can't really mess them up with the tire strategy. So I have Kimi Antonelli for sprint pole.
Yeah,
There.
and the Ferraris are very good off the line too. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but over just a one lap pace, if if the Mercedes don't get that would have been a pretty good biggest loser Mercedes like, and if they didn't get like pole or win the race,
Yeah, I had them
would
as one
would
of mine
lost.
that I was thinking of as well. I just don't think they're gonna lose here
No.
though. Hint hint for Japan, because I get to go first for biggest loser. All right, well, for my sprint poll then, since I have nothing left, but I did have three drivers selected, so this was the other person I was going to go with, is Leclerc. I think if anybody is going to be able to overcome the Mercedes power gap, it's going to be him. China is obviously a lot of straights, so the Mercedes seems they're just going to be insane on that back straight and the start straight and the little tiny straight. But there's also a lot of those little S section there. There's that big like spiral corner, so there's a lot of areas where the Ferrari will be quick. Where I could see it being a little bit closer than we're thinking. I think it will be closer in time than it was around Australia, but I don't think he's going to get the pole. But I don't have many options, so Charles Leclerc for pole. Predicting the sprint podium. Um, so for my sprint top three, who I have in third is Lewis Hamilton. I think during the course of the sprint weekend, the Ferraris are going to be really strong. Um, Hamilton's going to get his second podium with Ferrari. This will be 2 years in a row that he gets his podium in China during the sprint, so it's not a real one, but yeah, I think he'll put it on there again.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
So for third place for the sprint top three, and y'all might cock an eyebrow at this, I'm gonna go George Russell for third in the sprint.
Okay.
Only because you'll figure it out whenever I explain my top two. But I think who I have in second place, they're gonna have just a crazy start, and there's gonna be a lot of defending, and they're gonna lose a lot of time to who I have in first place.
Okay.
So for my sprint race third place position, I have Lewis Hamilton as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll have a good start. He won last year, so I think he'll definitely be on the podium this week,
Yeah.
just for the sprint. Then for my sprint P2, I have Max Verstappen. I think he's gonna have, like I said, the bounce back weekend, and he'll be fighting Russell for first. So
Holy spoiler.
maybe, I don't know. That could be just for the race.
That's true.
For P2, for my sprint top three, I have Lewis Hamilton. I think, depending on how the sprint quality goes, even if he's not in front of Russell, I think he'll only be one position back from him. So, realistically, I think the Ferraris have a much better start than the Mercedes. And I think, obviously, his experience, he has more than anyone else on the track other than, like, Fernando Alonso, which even then is only like a year or two less or something like that. Maybe not that short. But I think he'll be able to defend quite a lot and keep him back quite a bit and just strengthen the gap to who I have in first place.
Nice. Like that. Like we all have Hamilton up there. We're all believers. For my second position for the sprint, I have George Russell. Likewise, I don't think he's going to win the sprint race. I do think he's obviously going to be there. He's going to probably be on pole, so he'll be in that conversation. But it's not that long of a race. I think the sprint around China is going to be 17 or 19 laps, so it's a little bit longer than you think it is, but not enough for pit stops. So George Russell P2. And then for my P1 for the sprint, I have Leclerc. I think it will be a Ferrari 1-3 around the sprint race. I think Leclerc is going to get his first quote unquote victory of the season. Again, it's only a sprint win, it's not a regular race win, but still be great for that Ferrari morale to see both of them on a podium. So yeah, that's where I'm going.
I also have Leclerc for my P1 for the sprint top three. I really think they're going to have a crazy start. I have no idea what the sprint quali is going to look like. But I think judging by the start, it's really going to be like Hamilton versus Russell. And I think Leclerc just has like insane pace in the car this year. And I think he's going to be able to pull away far enough to where even if Russell does get past Hamilton, I don't think it'll be until like lap 8 or 9.
Yeah,
And
not enough
by
for him to
then,
catch up.
I think there's already going to be like a 6 or 7 second gap, which is really hard to close in such a short amount of time. But if any car is going to do it, it's a Mercedes. So I'm curious to see how that's going to go.
My sprint winner, I have George Russell.
Ooh,
I think.
boring.
Well, yeah, but it is what it is.
No, it's
I
safe.
think I don't think he'll be in. I don't think he'll be in first the entire race, but I do think by the end he'll
Mhm.
have the lead back.
I think it could be really close for sure. Again,
Yeah, because I mean, in in uh in Australia, they were very close up until the pit stop. So that's
yeah.
when
Yeah.
it spread it out the field a little bit.
Our race poll at the 2026 Shanghai Grand Prix.
Yeah, so for pole position for the race, I have George Russell. Very self-explanatory. The Mercedes is the quickest car. He's going to put it on a pole. Like I said earlier, I don't think it's going to be like 8 tenths again, but I do still think it'll be a comfortable margin that he has that on pole.
Yeah, I think he's the favorite. I think I know that's who I had for my P1. So for my wait, no, this is regular pole. For my regular pole, my race pole position, I have Kimi Antonelli.
Yeah.
Obviously, I would have picked Russell, but you stole him, and now Kyle's gonna have to pick Max. So there we go.
Okay, so I do have Max, like, as I have 5 different drivers for race pool. Russell and Antonelli, obviously, were the first 2 picks. And then I have both Ferraris and Verstappen. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I really want to go with Verstappen, but judging by the quali in Australia and how the rear axles kind of just like disappeared
Driver error,
in
by
his
the way.
quali, it was not. They literally stated it was not
Cope.
a driver error.
Cope.
All the commentators said it was not. Even drivers that are commentators now. Anyway, I think I'm gonna go with Leclerc here for my race, Paul. Self-explanatory. I think he's more comfortable in the Ferrari than Hamilton, just because he has so many more years there. Had they had the same amount of years in Ferrari or Hamilton had like an extra year or two, I'd say he'd honestly probably be the better Ferrari driver. But Leclerc's just gonna understand the car a lot more than Hamilton will, given his experience on that team. So
Yeah.
our race top three for the 2026 Shanghai Chinese Grand Prix FIA Formula One.
In P3, I have Kimi Antonelli. I still think he's definitely going to be on the podium with how quick the Mercedes is, but I think he's going to fall down a position. I think so one of the other drivers is going to beat him out. So P3 Kimi.
All right. For my P3, I'm gonna go a little crazy. Psych. I got Kimi also.
I got
Yeah, I think he'll be. I think he'll be third this week.
I think that's good.
Well, for my P3, with his newest found confidence, his post race interview in Australia, he had the biggest smile on his face, and he was like, I really wish there was many more laps, and all I want to do right now is just get back in the car for next weekend. I think Lewis Hamilton's going to take P3 here. I'm not going to lie.
Mm-hmm.
I think, you know, he's probably second best driver on the grid overall. Controversy there. First is Max Verstappen, obviously. But yeah, I really do think he'll take P3 here. I do not have his teammate in my top three.
Okay.
I could see him getting third.
I can see it happening. I'm worried it's not going to, but I need it to happen soon.
He's got to get his first race podium
And win.
in Ferrari. Well, yeah. I don't think that'll be this race, though,
No.
unfortunately. For P2, I have Kimi definitely. I'm not going to put him down in third. He was only a couple tenths off his teammate in quali last race. And again, I think he's out of that phase where that confidence is going to be the killer of him. So I think that confidence overall is really just going to be like an overall racecraft booster. And I think he's just going to have like ridiculous pace this race. Although, again, I don't see him winning this one. He's going to get a race win this year for sure. I just don't think it's going to be China.
I think he
Okay.
should, like, based off of the car, he kind of should finish second, so especially over a full race.
It's like Bottas and Hamilton all over again.
Yep. So for my P2, I got Max Verstappen. I'm
Okay.
going all in on Max being strong this weekend, so
I like it. In my P2, I have Charles Leclerc. I do think the Ferrari is still very close to. It is the second fastest car, and I think he'll be able to prove himself this race by just dethroning Antonelli. And in first place, who I have as the 2026 Chinese Grand Prix winner, George Russell. We're probably all in the same boat here. I think the Mercedes just looks insane. I think he's going to claim another easy victory. I think the only way he doesn't win is if he makes some super mistakes, like putting it in a wall, really like underperforming the current qualifying because he hit something, engine failure, or really bad pit stop. That's it's not going to be his fault if he doesn't win this race. Like it's going to be some bad luck.
yep. My P1 is also Russell. Pretty much said everything. I think he's gonna win pretty easily.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Sasha. Whenever you edit this, you can just put all of us saying George Russell at the exact same
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
So
It's valid.